Thank you. I'm glad you could join me. I appreciate you watching these videos. I hope you learned something from them. I hope that something that I say in these videos will help someone, because that is the reason that I'm doing them. That, and I've been pressured by the Lord to do them. And to be honest with you, it's not really pressure. This is something that needed to be done for a long time. I've kept 35 years sober, hidden for 35 years. And this has really been a transformation for me that I was not expecting. Because the more I dove into all of this, the more I realized a lot of this stuff does need to be said. And I'm reminded of the phrase, you can't keep it unless you can't keep it if you don't give it away. I learned that a long time ago, and it never really hit me until now. And then through this self-examination of myself and a lot of praying, and the Lord has really been dealing with me over the past several months of doing this. And I've been conflicted as to whether to do it or not, because I had never told anyone how I've stayed sober for 35 years. And a lot of people don't even realize that I was an alcoholic. Actually, I was a really bad alcoholic. And a lot of people don't really know that, except other than my wife and the Lord. And I depend on my wife wholeheartedly to tell me things. And she does tell me things, but at the same time, she relies on the Lord as well, and has faith that the Lord will fix the situation, or the Lord will intervene and take care of things, because she prays just as much as I do, although it may be on a different level. But anyway, we had come down to the fifth step, where I was going to present it to the pastor that I had called, who was a friend of the family, who had never known me and never been on the receiving end of anything I had done wrong or anything. And actually, he didn't even realize I was an alcoholic at the time. And so it kind of, I'm sure it took him aback, kind of set him. I'm sure he thought in his head I didn't realize he was an alcoholic, but at the same time, he was more than willing to come and listen to me. And the next day, that morning, I got up and I went over my notes that I had written down. And as I said, I had 5 or 6 pages. And honestly, to this day, I still have that folder. I've got that folder locked up in my safe at home. It's just something that I felt the need to hold on to. And the way I look at that is that's another piece of the puzzle. Because as I said earlier, I believe the Lord moves pieces of the puzzle around. I believe He's putting us all together. We're broke apart when we received Jesus Christ, and we're all in pieces, in different pieces. And I believe that the Lord over time puts these pieces back together and back where they're supposed to go, and He moves stuff around on the board. And it may be a strange way of looking at it, but this is the way I look at it. I look at it as pieces of the puzzle that the Lord is putting together. And you don't really know that He's put the pieces together until after the fact. And then you step back and you realize, 2 or 3 days later, or a month later, or a year later, you look back and you think, oh, okay, so He was moving this piece here and this piece here. Could they connect? Everything's connected. But anyway, I weaved on. I do weave a little bit, but I'll try to get back to my original point. I was at the point of the pastor coming and listening to me. He had no idea. And I had went over my notes and what I was going to say to him. This was shortly before he was to come. I don't remember what the appointment time was. He had to make an appointment to come at a certain time. And I went over my notes as far as everything that I'd done, and I was looking at the notes, and I remember looking at the notes, and there was stuff on there that I didn't think I would ever think of again, but yet they was on the paper. And the Lord was using me to write down everything, my wrongs, and even had me writing down stuff that I had no intention of, that I probably wouldn't have even thought of to put on there. But anyway, I wound up with 5 or 6 pages, and I still have that folder to this day. And at some point, I'm going to do some videos on that folder once I get back to where it is, because I live in Tennessee during the summertime and I live in Florida during the winter. But the folder is something because I've had this folder for 35 years, and it's got all the paperwork from that point of time whenever I went into the hospital. But I had went over all this stuff that I had written down and realized that there was a lot of stuff on there that I had done, but I didn't realize that I had written it down. And it kind of took me back. It took me aback because I was thinking, I never thought about that. And then there was a lot of bad stuff on there, but I knew that I was going to tell this preacher, and I thought, okay, how's this going to go? And then I said a prayer. I prayed that the Lord would help me deliver it to the pastor the way that he would have me deliver it, and use my words, and hopefully the pastor will understand, because the pastor was free to ask questions, and he did have a few questions, and which is fine with me. I went into detail on some of the things that I did with him. But he arrived, and they put us in a room together. And I'll never forget whenever I was talking to him. By the time that I had confessed everything, it felt like so much of a weight had been lifted off of me. And it was then that I realized that these steps will work, but you have to work them in an honest way. You can't be dishonest, and you can't go through the motions, because I had already done that, and that wasn't successful, and that was for 30 days. But this time it was different, because I was only in the hospital for 10 days this time. But I knew once I had seen my mother and she asked me if I was ready to go to the hospital, I knew at that point this is not going to take long, because I know what I'm going after. I'm going after the Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm going after sobriety. And I'm going to do whatever it takes, and whatever the Lord gives me the power to do, I will do whatever it takes to protect my sobriety. And I will go in deeper detail at some point as to how I have protected my sobriety all these years, because I have a system in my head of protecting my sobriety, because I protect it at all costs, because my decisions about my family, the decisions that I made whenever I was raising my children, and I'm not saying I raised my children alone, I'm saying my wife and I raised our children, but I am the head of the household, and as such, I had to present myself as an actual head of the household. And I'll have to tell you that me as an alcoholic, I was nowhere near the head of the household, because I couldn't even make a decision for myself, much less anyone in the family. And I knew that I had to do this so that I could be a better husband and a better father to my kids, and a better husband for my wife, because my wife did not deserve me. Not somebody like me as an alcoholic. And I'm just so thankful that she was patient with me, and I'm so thankful for her for a lot of things, because I owe her part of my sobriety, because it is because of her that I have stayed sober, and it's not because she has told me that I had to stay sober or anything. Matter of fact, that subject has never come up. She never gave me a choice, either the drinking or me, because if she had at the time, I would have probably chose the drinking, because that's just the way an alcoholic is, and that's the way a drug addict is. Because until you're ready to hit your rock bottom, and until you're ready to quit for yourself, it won't work for another person. But she never in her lifetime with me, and we've been together for 36 years. Actually, we've been married for 35, but we've been together for a little over 36 years. She never ever gave me an ultimatum as far as drinking or me. And so me and Jesus Christ done this more than I did. And Jesus Christ he's my North Star. And he's the one that I do that I'm doing this. I want Jesus Christ to be proud of me. And I know for him to be proud of me, I've got to do what his will is for my life, regardless of whether anybody likes it or anybody doesn't. That's the reason that honesty is so important in my life. And I have a really hard time with honesty, and I have a hard time with people that are dishonest, or people that tell half-truths, or people that have some way of twisting the honesty around. I have a real problem with that. And I don't, even if I don't tell them that I have a problem, in my mind I do have a problem with it, because I know what the honest truth is. And each of us knows what the honest truth is. Now, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for any other alcoholic. I'm not speaking for you. You can do a self-evaluation of yourself, and you will know whether you're honest or you're not. And you could probably come up with that answer in about 2 seconds. But I can't do that for you. That's something that you and Jesus Christ have to work out. But I implore you, get with Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ will change the direction of your life completely. I know whenever I got done with my 5th step with that gentleman, I was so relieved that had been lifted off of me. It's like the Lord took another coat off of me, or another chain off of me, because that chain had wore me down, at least for the day or two that I had realized. From the time I realized everything that I had done wrong, it was like a chain that I was wearing, and the chain fell off once I told the pastor everything that I had done, and he completely understood, and he thanked me for my testimony to him. But it just felt like Jesus Christ had taken the chains and just completely removed them from me, and I didn't have them anymore. And I'll go on. I'll stop there, and I'll continue on in my next video of how it felt from that point going forward, because it was a transformational moment for me. That particular point in time, with me making the confession to him, it's just like my life just completely transformed from that point going forward. I appreciate you listening to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, or you just want to send an email, that's fine too. You can send me an email at 35yearskept@gmail.com. Please hit like and subscribe if you like the channel. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you, and may God bless you.